much too complex. Too complex. Much too complex.
Welcome back to the BlackTrack, where I do commentary and review on movies with an all-black cast or at least a black lead. Today's movie is The Best Man, a 1999 film written and directed by Malcolm D. Lee, who is the cousin of famous writer and director Spike Lee. Just like Spike Lee, Malcolm set out to make a film that was unlike any other black film that was popular at the time. He didn't want to make another inner-city drug, gang, or crime movie, which had pretty much run its course by the late 90s. So he decided to make a movie that was more of a representation of himself and his friends. At the time, there was a surge in the popularity of romantic comedies, especially ones that centered around weddings. So Lee decided that he would base his romantic comedy on the black wedding experience. In fact, the original name for the movie was My Homeboy's Wedding, which is a spin on a popular wedding movie from the 90s called My Best Friend's Wedding. In the end, Lee settled on The Best Man, but it could have easily been called How Not to Treat Your Best Friends, because it's basically a study on the topic. The Best Man stars Taye Diggs, fresh off his breakout role in How Stella Got Her Groove Back. Funny enough, he was actually in 2 movies between that movie and The Best Man, one of them being another wedding movie called The Wood. While researching, I learned that Malcolm Lee actually tried really hard to get his movie out before The Wood, but failed by 2 months. Even though there are 2 completely different movies, I don't blame him for trying since they have similar themes. He also tried to time his movie with the release of Soul Food, knowing that black people would be looking for more of the same type of movie. That was pretty smart, even though he was about 2 years too late. Taye Diggs plays Harper Stewart, a writer's name if I ever heard one, and he's spending the weekend with old friends since he's the best man at his best friend's wedding. The only problem is, Harper wrote a horribly ill-conceived book with thinly veiled similarities to all his friends. Unflattering similarities, might I add. That's a shame, because he has such a talented cast of friends in this movie, like Nia Long and Morris Chestnut, who reunite after starring together in Boys in the Hood, Sanaa Lathan, Harold Perrineau, and Terrence Howard. In interviews, all the cast members said that they all got along in real life, so it made it very easy to translate that friendship to the screen. It shows too. Harper may have written an ill-conceived book about his friends, but was The Best Man an ill-conceived film not only for 1999 but for 2021 also? Let's BlackTrack and find out. Man, Harper, you were off to a good start. Bath time with Sanaa Lathan? I'll take it. I bet Taye Diggs didn't even read the rest of the script after seeing that. Her name is Robin in this movie, and Robin set this scene with a purpose. She's been with Harper for a few years now, and is wondering when he's gonna make that big commitment. Harper is talking real slow, and Robin didn't light all these candles for nothing. Since he can't give a straight answer, she decides she's had enough of this tight ass tub anyway, and leaves him to masturbate about it, I guess. Yeah, and clean up all this shit too when you're done. One of Harper's friends is Julian, played by Harold Perrineau, who's always going to be that one guy from Oz in the wheelchair to me. Harold is known as the friend who can't keep a secret, and he immediately proves that to be true when he tells Harper that he's read his book. I didn't mention it, but the book isn't even out yet, and Harper didn't expect anybody to read it until after the wedding. So how did everybody get their hands on this book, you ask? Well, that's because Harper still has a thing for his college friend named Jordan, played by Nia Long, who I've covered twice on the BlackTrack already in Boys in the Hood and Soul Food. And he gave her a copy, which basically means he gave everybody a copy, since she works for a network TV station, and it's basically her job to expose people. The scene showing that time they almost hooked up back in college is so awkward. First of all, the song that's playing in the background is not the kind of song you play when you think about getting busy. It's Stevie Wonder ass, in case you were wondering. Then when the song skips, they act like it ruined the whole week. The record player did y'all a favor if you ask me. Clearly our heart wasn't in it because I sure didn't need any music to study with a female in college. You know, I like Taye Diggs as an actor, but for some reason it came across like he was trying real hard to play a black man instead of, you know, being the black man that he already is. And if you think that statement sounds weird, then check out this scene.
I had to move. What, nigga?
See what I mean? The delivery just seems inauthentic. I don't know, maybe I'm tripping. Anyway, I'll tell you who didn't have to try too hard to come off as authentic, and that's Quentin, who's played by Terrence Howard. He's the realest dude in this movie, and he's not buying the idea that Harper wrote the characters in the book to be exaggerated versions of his friends. He thinks it's pretty damn accurate, to be honest, and is not too happy about how he's written.
I still think you might have exaggerated the brother's character a little bit. I mean, my mama not being around ain't got shit to do with how I be treating these bitches.
I think Quentin is the best character in this movie. He knows everything is going to hit the fan eventually, but he doesn't say anything. He just plays the background and makes slick jokes until everything falls apart. Terrence Howard has always been a talented actor, especially during this time period, and he kind of steals the show. What I want to know is, why is Morris Chestnut always playing a football player? He was a football player in Boys in the Hood, and I'm sure another movie I'm forgetting. It's like as soon as his agent tells him about a role, his first question is, am I a running back? Bet. His name is Lance, and he's not only a star football player, but he's Harper's best friend from college, and also the groom-to-be. Their relationship is kind of a tale of two opposites, because Lance is the prototypical jock who's super religious, and Harper is the furthest thing from an athlete and also a non-believer. Honestly though, these kind of friendships make the best friendships. You know what's the worst thing in the world? Acting one way with your fellas and having to completely change it up when your woman comes through. Julian has a girlfriend named Shelby, and she's the most toxic woman in the movie. She weaponizes her emotions to get Julian to basically drop everything and cater to her. Grow a backbone, dude. You used to be in Oswald State Penitentiary. You're stronger than this. The last piece of this wedding puzzle is the bride herself, Mia, who's played by Monica Calhoun. Nothing against her, but the way they play this scene out with the slow motion and the music would make you think she's the baddest thing walking in the movie. Nia Long didn't even get this treatment when she was introduced. Maybe I'm just still salty at her for when she was Ebony in Players Club, since it was only 2 years before this. I see she's still a little too friendly with other people's men. Even Lance notices. Who, Harper? He ain't nobody. I just realized that her fiance in this movie is named Lance, and the guy she took from Diamond in the Players Club is also named Lance. She really loves her a Lance. In an interview once, Malcolm Lee talked about being a fan of movies where there's long stretches of interesting dialogue and nothing else. And he decided to incorporate that into The Best Man with this over 7-minute card playing scene with all the fellas. I love it because it's very realistic and authentic. Well, except for Tay Diggs. It's a conversation that you can imagine any group of friends having when they all get together and reminisce about the past. I like how the tension slowly builds in this scene, which begins with them talking about the philosophy of how to deal with women, but eventually ends up super personal when Quentin asks if it would be okay if Mia sleeps with another guy before they get married, since Lance slept with several women while they've been together. See, Lance thinks Mia is a virgin, which is highly optimistic of him even in 1999. I left off the fact that Harper already admitted in his book that he slept with Mia in college, after she confided in him one night that Lance was constantly sleeping with other women. Quentin has already read Harper's book, so he knows this, but he plays dumb to prove a point. The little facial expressions he makes at the table are hilarious, because he doesn't want to just come out and say it, he wants Lance to figure it out himself, because some people just like to watch the world burn. He doesn't even care that he nearly got choked out for the insinuation.
Whose hand is it?
Like I said, Terrence Howard is great in this movie. Personally, I feel like Quentin could have took Lance. Guess we'll never know. To make matters worse, Lance is now in possession of Harper's book. Man, I would just leave. There's a theory that the whole reason that Harper wrote a book exposing his secrets and how he feels about his friends was low-key a therapeutic way for him to confess all his sins and get it off his conscience. It's the only thing that makes sense for why he would let a completely finished book end up in all their hands right before his best friend's wedding. Even Jordan thinks he's crazy once she connects the dots.
Lance has got a million important things to do to keep his mind from wandering on outlandish flights of fancy from my little book. As a matter of fact, he won't have time to read it.
Oops, the book doesn't even look all that long, and he's like halfway through that thing, bruh. You are literary fucked. For Mia's part, she's mad casual about all this. Losing her virginity to somebody who wasn't her boyfriend was just something she needed at the time to feel better, according to her. You know, kind of like needing somebody to scratch that one itch you can't reach. It's no big deal. Jordan is flabbergasted, but also kind of intrigued. Damn, didn't know Harper had it like that. So intrigued, in fact, that she just comes right out and just asks to be scratched by Harper.
I want to make love to you tonight.
Got to love a woman about her business. She treats it like some kind of business meeting. That's by design, of course, because her character is so busy that she neglects her love and sex life. Friday at 7:30 good for you? Don't be late. Well, Harper didn't say no. I swear, the further this weekend goes, the more nerves they pile on Harper. Mia more or less credits their entire relationship to him, and even Lance is starting to give their unique friendship the side eye. Hell, when Harper goes to the bathroom, I'm convinced this is about to be a short movie because Lance locks the door and confronts him a little aggressively like it's about to go down right now.
El Boogie, what's up, baby?
We already see how short his fuse is. Instead, he just thanks him and also credits their relationship to him. Man, you could have said that outside. You got me nervous. Thank God the tension is broken up by Jim Moody, who played Daddy Leroy Green Sr. in The Last Dragon. I hope he brought pizza. I also briefly showed him when I talked about Lean On Me. He's the guy who was about to fight Joe Clark in the beginning of the movie. So you gonna come over tonight or not? Angela Bassett already told me how you get down. She's really aggressive about this, knowing that Harper has a girlfriend. Man, the kitty cat wants what it wants, I guess. After you sat through all the sappiness of the rehearsal dinner and everything else, you know what's next. That's right, you guessed it. Bachelor party.
This is how we do it.
And this one is set up by Quentin, so you know it's gonna be hype. At least for everybody else it is. Looks like Julian can't even go, because if he does, Shelby will have her feelings hurt. After much pressure from his fellas and Quentin finally convincing him to grow some nuts, he tells her he's going, and that's final. About time, dude. I mean, this is minor. I'm sure y'all's relationship can be salvaged from this. Maybe not. Julian then fell in love with one of the strippers. The stripper Candy is played by longtime actress Regina Hall, who most people probably know from the Scary Movie series, but this was actually her very first movie role. She tells a story in an interview she did where she said that she didn't even know how to dance when she auditioned for the movie, but a stripper in her acting class told her to just go up there, turn around, bend over, and slap your butt. They'll never notice. And it worked. She got the part. Basically, Regina Hall was so fine that it didn't even matter that she couldn't dance, and she got the role over actual strippers. Give this woman her flowers while she's here. Hopper been trying this entire movie to keep Lance from finishing his book, and he finally succeeded. Look at the disappointment on Quentin's face. He just wants Hopper to own up to everything. I guess Hopper figured he'd be too drunk to find it later, but if he was gonna get so drunk anyway that you end up throwing the jacket right at Lance's feet, why even bother? At this point, Lance knows something is up, and takes a break from the festivities to go read more of the book. Evidently, he's a speed reader, because he gets to the point rather quickly. Proud of you, brother. Debunking stereotypes about athletes one word at a time. He finally learned what everybody else in the movie already knew days ago, and that's the fact that Harper did indeed have sex with the woman he's marrying tomorrow. You know what happens next.
Oh shit! Yo! What you doing, man?
Yo, that music does not fit the scene at all. You would think this was a comedy with that music. This is, however, no laughing matter, and Lance is willing to kill his best friend over the disrespect. Quentin has to talk him down from doing it. Okay, hear me out. Hopper is whack as hell for sleeping with his best friend's girl. Let's establish that right from the beginning. But Mia only did it in response to Lance constantly sleeping with other women when they were in college. So I think Mia and Hopper should be afforded a little bit of leeway. On top of all that, the idea that this woman should be a virgin to align with your on-again, off-again religious beliefs is asinine if I'm being honest.
God don't want this hell. He don't want this. Pull him out.
Exactly. Get out your feelings. I guess Lance said to hell with what I'm saying because he promptly calls off the wedding. Harper wasn't too beat up over what happened, no pun intended, because he still had the energy to show up to Jordan's place for some overdue action.
Just a second.
Wait a minute. Let's run that back.
Just a second.
I don't think I need to say anything else. Oh, now you want to show some balls when you get in front of Jordan. Harper gets all hot because Jordan was the one who initially let the book leak in the first place, and she delivers a slap that she insists was real and very hard, but upon further viewing, it really doesn't look all that hard to me. I guess sex is off the table. The next morning, Harper meets Robin at the airport and confesses everything, even the fact that he tried to sleep with Jordan. It's hard for me to imagine her being shocked by all this. You mean to tell me out of everybody who read this book, his own girl didn't even read it to find out how he felt about all these women? Harper has bigger problems though, and he somehow convinces her to stay to help the wedding go as planned. Everybody showed up and got in place anyway, so I commend them for not giving up. Julian even showed up with Candy the stripper as his date. Good for you, man. I'd take a stripper over a manipulator any day. Lance even shows up, but only to cause a scene at the church. Why even bother? If you want to be all pissy about the situation, don't mess it up for everybody else. And especially don't embarrass your parents and your bride. And why are his boys so afraid of him? I'm willing to bet at least Quentin can take him. On top of all that, he's just being really mentally unstable if you ask me. Harper is doing everything possible to talk him down. It even calls out the fact that he lives in a fake reality where he expects everything to be perfect. Yeah, your friend sucks, but you're being incredibly unreasonable about all this, considering all the things you did to her.
So are you calling me a hypocrite now?
Yes! You know what? Maybe they should call this wedding off so Lance can get some counseling before he goes to prison. After all that, Harper does convince him to get married, but only after he agrees to pray with Lance.
I'm a Christian, so I have to forgive you, but that doesn't mean I have to like it.
Oh, please, dude. Who are these two guys? I guess they needed random extras because it would look weird with just 3 groomsmen. The wedding goes off without incident, although I think it drags on way too long. And it's kind of the main event, so if you didn't dedicate at least a little time to it, then I guess somebody would probably be mad. The only weird part about it is the random flashbacks that Lance has of Mia getting dug out by Harper. It's kind of funny, but I don't think it was necessary, and it kind of ruins the tone if I'm being honest. It's saved by the reception though, and I have to say, this reception is a lot less dramatic than the Joseph family reception from Soul Food. You know why? because Lance and Mia didn't invite their goddamn exes to the reception. Well, Mia did sleep with the best man, but that's besides the point. Y'all acting like that's the plot of the movie or something. Isn't it considered tacky to propose to somebody at another person's wedding? I guess Harper said, I'm gonna make this about me one way or the other. Shoot, I got books to sell. Robin says yes, and everybody dances the night away and lives happily ever after. Nobody had more fun than Quentin and Shelby that night though. But hold up. You spent the majority of the movie trying to get your boy Julius to leave his girl, only to sleep with her after the wedding? That confirms it. Man law violations absolutely do not exist with these dudes. Let's get to the grade. For a movie that was inspired by soul food and compared to The Wood, I think it's easily the best movie out of the three. It's a complicated movie that I think is meant to make you feel uncomfortable. It's another movie similar to Soul Food that's not really meant to provide you with a happy ending, but rather leave you to ponder how the characters deal with their issues going forward. Unlike Soul Food though, this movie did get a sequel, which I'll be covering next. But ignoring that for now, as a standalone movie, The Best Man is a true-to-life portrayal of the volatile friendship dynamic among men. You can make all the unofficial man laws and friend rules you want, but men usually make bad decisions when women are involved. And instead of dealing with it like boys, they just hide it. Every man in the movie has a bad relationship with their woman, and the only thing really holding them back is accountability. It's this deep writing that I think puts The Best Man above your usual black friends and family movie of the time. The entire movie is basically about Harper attempting to absolve his transgressions and indirectly the transgressions of his friends through his book. It works, but not without anger and suffering. The religious aspect of it seems forced and doesn't really fit Lance's character, but I want to believe that it was meant to be that way, and he was supposed to come off like a hypocrite. The acting is superb, aside from Taye Diggs. Even though he's the star, I feel like he was miscast. Probably not a popular opinion, but I think somebody who didn't approach the role as somebody attempting to act like a black man would have been a better fit. It just didn't come off as natural, and I didn't believe him as a lifelong friend of the other three guys. Regardless, there's not much I can say bad about the cast, as everybody in it has had long and very deserving successful careers, and I consider this movie to be one of their highlights. My grade for The Best Man is a B-. It challenges you a little more than your average friends and family movie, but some of the characters' decisions are a little outlandish. And that does it for this episode of the BlackTrack. As usual, let me know how you felt about the movie The Best Man in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And until next time, I'll holla at you.